page 20, page 14. And on page 14, coursework assignment, it says write a 1500 word essay on one of the following. The first one, why did Parsons synthesize the ideas of Durkheim and Weber? Is this synthesis of any use to us today? So there we are. One on critically assess Simmel's contributions to our understanding of contemporary social life. And using examples, outline the problems facing social scientists who want to use categories like community and society. That could include Tönnies, could include Durkheim, could include Marx, could include anybody. So anyway, there are three sort of broad questions there looking at part one. Now, in answering these questions, what are we looking for? What's going to get you the marks? Firstly, in 1500 words, you're going to have to be fairly concise. And try, therefore, not to beat around the bush. There are lots of students who give either no introduction at all to their essay, or those that actually write 3 pages of introduction and then go off into the essay and do things that are not connected with the introduction. When this essay is marked, we're going to mark it using a special form which will be available for you to download on Blackboard, and I'll also be handing out copies of this at a lecture in the near future for you to have a look at. The form is divided into 4 parts, and what we're going to do is we're going to assess you on how you introduce your essay, how you set out the problem, and tell us how you're going to deal with the question. So your essay will need to have an introduction for this particular essay, and in that introduction we're kind of expecting you to outline what it is that you're going to argue, including tell us what you're arguing for. In other words, in the introduction, which might be a paragraph or so, anything from, I don't know, say 150 words or something of that nature, you're going to tell us what your essay is about, what sources you're going to draw on, and what you're going to argue, and what your conclusions are. There will be a space on the form, when you see it, you'll see, that we'll be looking to see whether or not at the start of an essay you can tell us what it is that you're going to conclude with. This gives us a sense, or gives not us as examiners, but us as readers, a sense of what it is that your essay is working towards, and how we should therefore look at the arguments that are presented in it. Okay, so that's the first part of your essay. Then there are 3 other parts. The next part of your essay is what one might call the descriptive part. So we imagine there's going to be some kind of description, perhaps a critical description or critical outline or reflective outline of some kind, but in this descriptive part you're going to be saying, in this question I'm drawing on Marx or Durkheim or Weber or whatever, on their ideas, and whilst drawing on their ideas I'm going to describe for you, the reader, what is important in their theoretical thinking that has a relationship to this question. This is largely, broadly, a matter of description. So if you're, answering a question about what is society for Durkheim, you're going to say something along the lines of, Durkheim wrote a hell of a lot, he wrote about this, that and the other. I'm not going to consider all of that. What I'm going to talk about are those parts of his writing that help us define what society is and how it impacts on behaviour and how it impacts and relates to this question. Okay, so we imagine that there is going to be some kind of descriptive element of the sources that you're using. The next section, or the next part of your of the essay, is the critical analysis part. The people that you draw on and talk about, Durkheim, Weber, Marx, any of the sort of critical theorists that discuss Durkheim, Weber and Marx and so on, have to make judgments. You have to make judgments. If Durkheim says the world is like this, it's like X, or Marx says it's like this, your task is to assess what arguments is he using. These you will have described in your descriptive section. These are the arguments that he's using. But what evidence does he supply? Or what arguments does he supply for that? And are they adequate to the purpose? In other words, if society consists of parts, a division of labour or whatever it is that Durkheim claims, then what empirical evidence does he offer, or what kind of theoretical arguments does he offer for this statement? And are the evidence and the arguments that he offers adequate to the assertion that he's making? That's the important thing. And what most marks will be given for are your attempts to make judgments about the adequacy of the argumentation that these theorists bring to bear. The final part, the fourth part of the essay, is the conclusion, where you round everything off and say, as it were, therefore, the world is like this. Okay, so those are the four parts. Now, although I've separated out, for the purposes of this discussion, parts 2 and 3, a descriptive part of the arguments and so on, and a set of critical statements about those arguments, what you have in fact described, you may choose to mix them up if it works better for you in the context of your essay. But we do need to see both, and we will be assessing both in the essay. Good, okay. Well, I think I'm running out of time for one video. I may have to edit this one, compress it a bit. So see you in the next video, which will be about the next essay in a couple of days. Thank you very much. How do I turn this off? I never know.